Doug Miles, Don Henderson here in sunny Sarasota today. I know people around the rest of the country, Don, suffering through some still bad spring weather, but we got a nice one today.
No question about it. We talked about it at breakfast this morning, and you look around the country at some of the games and the way they've been played in Boston, Minnesota last night being really rained, sleeted, and snowed out. The weather has been terrible in the Northeast. Why they can't play baseball in Florida, California, Texas.
Right.
Open the season in those places, not in the Northeast.
Yeah, we'll get to baseball in a minute. Let's just briefly recap the Masters from last week. We talked about it last Saturday on heading into the third round, but Patrick Reed held on to the lead for most of Sunday. And interesting, though, Don, a lot of stories. Not a very popular golfer on the tour.
I guess he's had a very, very unusual life growing up and has a lot of differentials with his own family.
Right. He grew up near Augusta.
Yeah, it's much
Or
closer.
went to college near Augusta.
Yeah, a little bit closer with his wife's family than he is with his own family, but a great match player. And in the Ryder Cup last year, he was 6-1. He went into this final round, and everybody thought, well, McIlroy playing him head-to-head, they sort of had a little agitation between the two of them,
right,
and that McIlroy would take over and win. But boy, head-to-head, he just took him right to the cleaners.
Spieth made a run, had a great final round, just a little bit too far back to start, but he put a little pressure on Reed.
Yeah, he had a great round. The only really bad hole he had was 18, and he did that in round 2 when he teed off and teed it into the woods, and it cost him a stroke in round 2. He took a 5 instead of a 4 on the 18th, and he did exactly the same thing in the final round on Sunday after a brilliant 17 holes. He just screwed up on the 18th and finished a stroke back.
Reed, kind of known as a cocky guy when he came out in the tour. He said, I'm going to be one of the best.
Yes.
It took him a while to get there, but who knows? See if he can follow it up now.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I had never heard of the school that he went to, and he was right outside of Augusta.
Yeah.
But I have never
led him to a couple of championships.
Yeah, I had never actually heard of that school, but it must be a great golfing school.
So the Open is next, right? Shinnecock in Long Island. You won't be too far away. You going to drive out there, Don?
Well,
it's a bit of a ride.
My son and grandson went the last time it was at Shinnecock, but it's a long ride out on the island.
Way out east on the island for people not familiar.
You're much more familiar with the island than I am. But
I've never been out there either. But
my son said that he didn't think he was ever going to get there, and then you have to park quite a ways away. It's a
literally in the middle of an Indian reservation.
Yeah, it's a full.
They own the land.
Full day
Indian
trip.
Reservation.
Full day trip.
So we'll talk about that as we get closer to it. Let's talk a little hockey playoffs, Don. Down here, the Lightning fans are getting into the series. They beat the Devils in Game 1 in Tampa. They play, as we talk, tonight in Tampa as well, but pretty handy win against New Jersey.
I'll be honest about it. You and I were chatting about a show we do on Wednesday night, and I really thought they had a little bit of bad luck drawing the Devils as opposed to Toronto. I thought they would have been much better in the first round playing Toronto. But boy, they blew the Devils out in game number 1.
Yeah. Took it to them early.
Yeah, took it to them very, very early. And the Devils were never really in it. So, maybe I'm 100% wrong. I just thought the Devils were going to be very strong, although defensively they're having problems.
The Devils have to get a split to have any chance. So they'll play Game 2 tonight. Maple Leafs playing the Bruins. Bruins got Game 1 in that series. Your Flyers, rough start against Pittsburgh, getting shut out 7-0, but came back with a win last night, 5-1.
They looked so bad in game number 1.
Awful.
Oh, 7-0, just annihilated. But the interesting part of last night was that they got on the board early. 2 of 3 power plays they scored, and Pittsburgh scored 0 for 4, which was a big help. Also, defensively, they're very, very young. But they got the puck out of their own zone much more quickly last night than they had done in game number 1. They were sort of overwhelmed in their own zone in game 1. That did not happen last night. And the last goal was immaterial. I think it was like 65 seconds left in the game. Got open netter.
Right.
But they really dominated the game, and even the series 1-1. And now they're back at the Spectrum. Or back at the Wells Fargo Center.
Another one of the great stories in hockey this year is the Vegas Golden Knights. They beat their first-round opponent in first game, the Kings, the other night. And, boy, they're just going nuts out in Vegas for this team.
You and I have talked all year, and I still continue to feel this way, that Bettman who gets a lot of criticism about how he runs the National Hockey League. But this is the best formula I've ever seen for an expansion team.
Yeah.
He not only had a competitive team, but they won their division. I mean, it was unbelievable. And they came out last night and won game one of the playoffs. Now, I don't know if they're going to go to the finals. I don't know if they're going to win the Stanley Cup. But the people that are going to see the games in Vegas, more than getting their money's worth.
Yeah, I kind of thought they'd sell out because you have all the hotels giving out tickets, but they have a real core fan base out there.
Certainly
now.
seems so. I haven't been out there while they're playing, but if you read the papers and listen to some of the things on radio and television, it appears that they've already started to build a real solid base. Just look what the Lightning. I mean, the Lightning, how many consecutive games now have they sold out?
Yeah.
And who would think in Tampa, Florida, the National Hockey League would be this successful?
Other hockey news, the Rangers fire their coach, Alain Vigneault, after 5 seasons. Vigneault made kind of a plea to the press after the last regular season game, saying how he thought he should stay, but they saw otherwise. Glenn Sather and the GM said no. So
Well, Doug, his one-loss record was not that bad.
Outstanding. The last 2 years have been bad years, or off years,
yeah.
but the first 3 were great. They went to the finals once.
So I was a little surprised and a lot of disappointment in New York. You said 3 years ago they thought, and the Flyers not the Flyers, the Lightning.
Kings beat them in the finals 4 years ago.
Everybody thought this is the year they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. And then after that, for a combination of reasons, general manager not making good moves, getting rid of players. In fact, really the Lightning have been beneficiaries of what the Rangers have done. I mean, they gave them their captain. They gave them some players that have really helped the Lightning.
Both New York franchises, the Knicks and Rangers, fire their coach this week. Hornacek out with the Knicks.
Yeah, well,
not a surprise because he was Phil Jackson's guy, right?
Yes,
and,
yes.
2 years. I guess he had another year on his contract. So don't feel sorry for Jeff. He gets $5 million for taking a vacation, but that's a mess. We won't get into that. But the Knicks are a mess. As long as James Dolan is there, it's a mess.
That's America today. The Knicks and the Rangers can't seem to get anything.
Can't get out of their own way. At least the Rangers, Dolan doesn't get too involved with them.
No.
But the Knicks, he gets involved in, and it's been 40 years of a mess, really. But anyway, let's talk a little baseball, Don. We mentioned the terrible weather. Yankees and the Red Sox played a series in Fenway this week. Got a brawl, the old-fashioned base brawl going on. I never like to see that, but it happened twice this week. 2 different games had brawls.
Yeah, they had a little bit of a Donnybrook up there. They threw a little close, and the first pitch was okay. Really in a retaliation for a slide into second base, to be honest with you. And the Red Sox took exception. The officials, the umpires took it to the screen, looked it over, did not think it was really not like Chase Utley taking him out.
Right.
He just got him in the leg a little bit. And then, of course, when Kelly came out to pitch, threw a ball inside, which missed him. And then the next pitch got him right in the ribs. And that's when he charged the mound. And as you said, suspensions came from that.
Yeah, and I think was it San Diego?
Yes.
The other team that had a brawl as well. So frustration, maybe some of it due to the weather, although San Diego, they were playing in decent weather. But you haven't really seen those kind of brawls in recent years. It used to be more commonplace, particularly with the Red Sox and the Yankees.
Well, the unfortunate part about it is not so much the flare-up. 9 times out of 10, you get somebody who they step on his hand, or they twist his ankle, or they do something, and the guy's out for 4 or 5 days, or a week, or 2 weeks, and that's really the result of what you don't want. It's not just the fact they run out and all the players come out and muddle together, but it's somebody innocent guy gets hurt, and that's terrible.
So the Sox take 2 out of 3 from the Yankees in that first series, and Rays played the Phillies last night. They came home after opening the season at home for 3 games, been on the road for 3 different cities, and they come back but lose a close one to your Phillies.
Yeah, they lost 2-1 last night. A game that you thought they had a great chance to win. They got very good starting pitching for 6 1/3, and it was 1-1 game. It was very close, but unfortunately for Cash, the 1-run games have all gone the other way.
3-11 as we talk today.
Yeah, they just cannot score runs, and even though the Phillies only scored 2, as in most cases with the Rays so far this year, 2's enough.
It's going to be a long, empty season, I'm afraid, at the Trop up there, but at least they had a close one last night. Phillies doing a little bit better now. I think they're over 500.
They're 7-5. They're 7-5 after a disastrous start. Kepler getting a lot of abuse.
They had a couple of glitches.
Yeah, they want to run him out of town the first week, but he's got them back on the straight and narrow. They're 7-5, and they're playing much better baseball.
Well, we don't want to short shrift the Mets, who are just going crazy in New York, 10-1. After their great start, Callaway is the greatest manager since Gil Hodges right now in Mets history.
Record setter.
Yeah.
I mean, they've never gotten off to this good a start in all the years they've been in New York, and so everything seems to be going right. And I watched the post-game show last night. Frazier was on, who of course played with the Yankees last year and then signed as a free agent with the Mets. He had a couple of big hits, including a home run, and he was talking about how well as a team they were not only playing offensively, but how well they were playing defensively, and he thought that was the catalyst for the way they've gotten off to this great start.
And the story again, we talked about it briefly last time. Ohtani with the Angels continues to have a great season so far, not only on the mound, but again at the plate, knocking in a couple of big runs.
2 more hits last night. One was a triple that really did the trick, and one was a single right back through the middle. He was 0-2, worked it to 2-2, pitched low and inside, took a line drive to center field, and he's gotten off to a great start, both offensively and defensively from a pitching standpoint. Spring training, you thought, oh boy, they were talking about they're going to send him to minor leagues. He's certainly not ready for Major League Baseball, but boy, he has put on a show the first 2 weeks.
The Angels needed something because they've gone years now since what they won in 2002. So
right.
It's been a long time. Scioscia, they keep saying every year, is he going to be? He had such a long contract, they didn't want to get rid of him, but I guess if they can make a run this year, Scioscia's got the guy.
He's from Springfield, Delaware County, right outside of
Oh, is he
Philadelphia.
really?
Yeah, I've seen Scioscia since he was in high school, and always thought he was a very solid manager. Worked under Dodger organization, worked under Tommy Lasorda, and was an excellent manager. But for some reason, the combination, he couldn't put together a winning combination. They always were lacking 2 or 3, and not from a lack of spending money. I mean, they spend a lot of money. In fact, the Yankees, we talked about it last week, the Yankees are now down 5 or 6, but the Angels and the Red Sox are way over.
Oh, yeah. The Yankees are still, I think, under the cap a little bit, aren't they?
I don't think they're under.
They're under the luxury
close.
tax.
Yeah, they're close.
Yeah.
They're very close, and they don't want to pay that luxury tax anymore.
So anyway, that's what's going on here. A lot to talk about. We'll update it again next week. But we got some good weather, but up north, look out for another late spring winter storm.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Stanley Cup playoffs because, like every sport, basketball the same thing. The 76ers, we didn't touch on it, but they won 15 games in a row now going into the playoffs, and which is a great thing for the city of Philadelphia. They've got the Flyers, they've got the Sixers, they have Villanova. The Eagles won the NFL championship. Philadelphia's back to the 70s, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, when every one of their teams was competitive.
Yeah, great era that you were a part of.
Finally got back there.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you again next week, everybody. Thanks for joining us.